You're listening to the Night Demon Network. Go to nightdemon.net/subscriber to unlock more exclusive content.
Hello, and welcome to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. I'm your host, Nesbit, and today we're going to jump back into our interview with guitarist Tom Draper. Jarvis sat down with him backstage at Hell's Heroes. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get back into it. This is the Tom Draper interview.
And I got into an original band around that time called Crowning Glory, which I think the guys had originally imagined it was going to be like a Velvet Revolver-y sort of thing. This was 2005, and they're like, oh, there's a rock revival thing happening.
Right.
But some of the demos I played them were very much Iron Maiden sounding. And they were like, oh, maybe we could do that too, actually.
Right.
And that band rolled for like 3 or 4 years, and it introduced me to a lot of people who've been incredibly important to my career. It introduced me to Will Palmer, who we know very well.
Shout out Will Palmer.
Shout out Will, because he was in a band with the Crowning Glory drummer, and he was at that time doing Rise Above Records with Lee Dorian.
Right, the label that signed Ghost.
The label that signed Ghost, exactly. And he was always very supportive of the band, put a 7-inch out for us when we were still we always were an unsigned band, as it turned out. We recorded an album with Chris Tangarides, which
wow,
we paid
rest
for.
In peace.
R.I.P. Chris, yeah, the Dark Lord, as he liked to call himself.
I got to meet him one time. He was pretty cool.
He was rad. We spent a month at his studio, and we recorded an album, shopped it around, and the only people who were interested didn't offer us enough money for it to be worth us doing it, was the decision we took.
So does that album still exist somewhere?
On a hard disk and on some CDs, yeah, but it never got released.
Wow. You guys thinking about ever self-releasing it?
Nah, the band broke up pretty badly.
Okay. Wow.
Pretty badly.
I hate to hear that. Like that there's an album out there that you recorded with Chris, with these guys who at that time loved each other and what they were doing, and it just it's not accessible.
No, we'd got one song out on an Earache compilation, which was called Heavy Metal Killers, which was like just after Earache had done signing all the thrash bands, which they did for a minute with bands like Evil and stuff. They were like, oh, well, let's sign all these new trad metal sounding bands.
Right.
So on that compilation was White Wizard, Enforcer, Cauldron, quite a few other bands who are still going now, and we were on that. So that one song is on Spotify. It's called Sea of Dead Dreams by Crowning Glory, and that's like the only evidence that the band existed.
Dead at night, the mind's alive. Is that from that
I
session?
think it's actually the EP version that
Okay.
we did a couple of years earlier, but it's the same.
Right,
Like,
right.
So yeah, when that band collapsed, I pretty much stopped playing guitar for a year because I was so brokenhearted about it. I was like,
Really?
that was the band, that was the chance.
So what do you mean you stopped playing guitar? Like you didn't play at all? Or you didn't play out?
Not
Or
really,
you-
no, I just stopped. I didn't play with the cover band, I didn't play at home, I just got
What were you doing?
going to football matches, going to the pub with my friends, like just hanging out with my wife, and just doing normal stuff.
Did you have a job?
I had a job, yeah. I've always had a job the whole time I've been doing all of this, ever since I finished university. Like I've been a 40-hour-a-week like program manager, project coordinator. I'm currently an operations analyst.
For what? Like
Various things. In the UK, it tended to be for utilities companies. Like the guys, I was organising all of the streetlight replacement in the London Borough of Hackney for a few years, sorting out all the speed cameras, traffic lights, advertising
Big Brother
boards.
CCTV stuff.
Just making sure people got a fine if they were driving over 30 miles an hour, that kind
Right.
of thing, yeah. Been doing e-commerce for the last couple of years. Just like messing around with spreadsheets for companies that sell expensive furniture.
So are you able to do that remotely?
Yeah, my current position, I've been working from home for about 6 or 7 years. Shout out my boss, Greg, he rules.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He lets me take unpaid time off to go and do rock stuff, which
Amazing.
is very, very useful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm jumping all over the place.
No, that's okay. No, it's relevant to what we're talking about.
The next band after I came out of my funk was called Primitai, and they were like a kind of power metal-y sort of band. They had a thing going of Andy and Sharon Richardson of Factory Music, so they didn't have a record deal, but they could get pretty good bookings. So we got to go out and do a tour with Grand.
So like the
Magus.
Manchester factory?
No, I think they were based in Kent. But,
Okay.
that was the name of their setup at the time.
Okay.
I think they ended up part of K2 possibly.
Okay.
We got to do tours opening for Sepultura, and we got to do a tour opening for Grand Magus, which was excellent. And a couple of one-offs, like we opened for Marty Friedman once, which,
Cool.
let me tell you, as a guitar player, is a rough gig.
Yeah.
Because
right.
everyone there is waiting to see Marty.
I know.
And I'm like, me and my sausage fingers are going to have a real bad time. But it was okay. We got out of that unscathed. And they were nice guys and fun. And while that was happening, the other person who I met in those formative years in Crowning Glory, Bill Steer, had decided that he didn't have time to play an Angel Witch anymore. Because Carcass were releasing Surgical Steel, and he knew that was going to be a heavy.
So we're talking
schedule.
like 2012,
12, 13,
Yeah.
yeah. So sometime in 2012, it was before everyone knew about the Carcass album, but I think Bill spoke to my wife when he ran into her on a night out once. He's like, oh, by the way, can you ask Tom if he'd be interested in learning the Angel Witch songs? And she's like, for what? She's like, well, to play in the band. And 9 months or something passed and nothing happened until eventually I ran into him and I was like, hey, hi, Bill, nice to see you. And I think the only time I'd really spoken to him before, he was complimentary about my guitar tone when he saw Crowning Glory once or
Nice.
something. We didn't really talk. And he explained the situation, and I was like, you're kidding, right? Like, there's no way I could be in a band like that. That's Angel Witch.
right?
But he said, yeah, I'm totally serious. Like, by August, I'm going to be too busy to do this anymore. So, like, start learning the songs. I think the guys would be interested in meeting you. And so that was the first time I had a chance to play with a band who I already had in my record collection,
Right.
And I worked my ass off, learning the material. And
So did you work? I mean, did you start learning this stuff before you even talked to the guys and knew you were going to have an audition?
No, I mean, I spoke to Will a little bit, and he's like, "Yeah, well, I'm like, when you got a few songs down, let us know, and we'll book a jam."
Okay.
Because the first gig I did with them was Up the Hammers
In Greece,
in Athens,
yeah.
and I think I had about 6 or 8 weeks prior to the show actually happening when I started work on the material. But yeah, I had a couple of jams, went and did the gig, and for the next year and a half, I was the second guitar player in Angel Witch, which was amazing.
Yeah, that's when I first saw you in Sweden.
In Sweden,
Didn't you play with them in Sweden?
it's possible.
Muscle Rock, 2014.
Yes, exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that was amazing. Using Bullet's
Yeah.
incredibly loud Marshall amps.
Yeah, and having the pyrotechnics.
Yeah,
happening.
I was wearing Kevin's old vest from the early days at that show. Like, he dug it out of his attic. He's like, "Here, wear this. I can't fit it anymore." Yeah, and we had the Enforcer guys were running the pyro.
Yeah.
That was sick.
Yeah, that was great, man.
Yeah, I mean, that ended up being one of my last Angel Witch gigs, because about a month or two after that, Sarah got a job offer in California, and we were like, well, I mean, we're just entering our 30s, and a lot of our friends here are just having kids, and
Right.
we're not
So,
going to do that.
How'd you feel about that, moving from London to California?
Well, I remember running into Johanna from Lucifer about a year later, and she was like, you've ruined your career by doing this.
What, she said that?
Yeah.
She's German. How does she know?
I don't know, but she was like, you're with Angel Witch, you're in London, you had it all. It's like, there's no scene out here. And I was like, we'll see.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that was, that was her opinion. The next time I saw her was at Psycho Las Vegas a few years ago when I was with Carcass.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So, I'm very happy we did. We have a really nice quality of life in the Bay Area, and I've got lots of dear friends who I've met there. And it's been 11 years now. It feels as much like home as
Right.
England ever did.
And the weather, I'm sure you appreciate more, right?
Yeah, it's easier to have a sunny disposition when it's like bright sunshine, like 200 and something days a year.
Right. And so Sarah gets the job offer. You guys move out. At that point, you got to bow out of Angel Witch.
I hoped that I could keep it going, so I did do.
It's funny nowadays. You probably could, because they're not really a London-based band anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I did fly over to do 3 more shows with them after I'd been in the States for about 6 months. I think Will told me about the shows, and I just booked the flights and paid for them myself without even thinking about it.
Right.
And it was like we played Hammerfest in North Wales, and then we did Belfast and Dublin. And they weren't able to cover the cost of the flights. And he was like, well, the next show is at the Underworld in Camden next month. Are you going to do that one? I was like, well, if you're going to pay for it.
I bet that's the one that I booked. I bet it was Frost and Fire.
Could have been.
Frost and Fire London. Yeah.
Could have been.
Yeah.
But yeah, at that point, it's like we realized that the numbers were just not going to work. And so they got Jimmy in the band.
I love Jimmy.
Jimmy rules.
Yeah.
I was really sad to not do it anymore, but it was just impossible. You know, I didn't have deep enough pockets to like fund myself flying back and forth across the Atlantic to play with them. That would have been insane.
Of course.
Yeah.
So you end up in the States. You're there. You're still working. Are you doing your current job, or are you having to switch jobs now?
The first job I got in the States was working for PG&E.
Really? The energy company?
Yeah, exactly. I got put with them through an agency. I was working in their head office on the smart
meter. Was that
meter
before
team.
didn't they fold and like have to? Didn't there some big antitrust lawsuit? Maybe that was years before that.
They still exist. I mean, that was like a suit and tie. Well, I never wore a suit, but a shirt and tie, like commuting into the center of San Francisco every day job.
Wow, a real businessman.
Yeah, that's. I got paid real good though, so I can't complain.
Okay.
I don't know what they're doing with that public money, but it ain't.
Right.
I should stop talking about that. This is where you actually enter the picture, because where my community really started to grow here in California, well, I'm in Houston right now, but in California, was when I saw the first Frost and Fire Festival advertised.
2015, October of 2015.
Yeah.
It was a one-day event.
Exactly 1 year after I moved to the States, and Will had turned me on to Ashbury a year or two earlier. I was hotel room jams, you know what it's like.
Oh, yeah.
He just puts his iPhone and was like, by the way, listen to this. I was like, this is
the
amazing.
Greatest band you never heard.
Yeah,
you know?
so Endless Skies was like a constant repeat album for me at the time. So as soon as I saw that thing was happening, I was like, oh my fucking God, I'm gonna go to Ventura. And this is how much of a California noob I was. I took a flight from San Francisco to Santa Barbara and then rented a car to get there because I thought that was the most sensible way.
Here's the funny thing about that. So you probably don't know this. The night before that festival, Night Demon is playing in San Francisco.
Wow.
At it wasn't at Eli's. It was at the Parkside. It was us, Broke His Helm, Slowfeg, and Savage Master.
Wow.
And so we have to drive after the gig. We drive straight to Ventura because we've got to set up our own festival the next day.
Yeah.
Then the day after the festival, we played in Tucson, Arizona at the Southwest Terror Fest. That's how hard Night Demon used to roll. I mean, we did whatever we could to make it happen. But so that's funny. So you probably flew in the night before the fest, right? So you fly San Francisco to Santa Barbara. So you're still like 40 minutes north of Ventura. But I mean, that's it's better than flying into LA. You really don't have the option. You can't fly into Ventura,
Yeah, no.
So
everyone who's been knows,
and as beautiful as that drive is, it's crushing. Like it's still it still just takes the day out of you. You know what I mean?
Oh, it does, yeah.
Yeah.
It's you're giving up most of the day.
Right.
I think I didn't want to take time off work, I think was the reason why I did it that way. Yeah. But it was great. I remember that night I went to like an Irish pub somewhere in town on my own and I saw a table
Dargan's?
Saw a table full of people who looked like rockers and I asked if I could sit with them, and that was like Soledad and Sean Weingartner and stuff, people I'm still friends with now. And
Soledad came from Mexico. We just saw her here at this fest today. And Sean from Austin.
Immediately it gave me a good feeling. It's like, oh, there's a heavy metal family here.
There's a community, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever so when you're playing with Metalworks and stuff like in London, was there any kind of a heavy metal community there?
There were there weren't really any other bands doing trad metal the way we were. Like there was a few bands who were doing more of a glam thing, like trying to rip off like Motley Crue and like Poison and Guns N' Roses and stuff. And we'd do gigs with them just because it was like closer than playing with like really heavy bands.
Right.
Because like with really heavy bands, we like just seemed like a novelty act. Our singer sounded like Sebastian Bach and Rob Halford.
Right.
So like we needed to be with melodic bands, really.
Why is it that the UK is like the birthplace for this stuff? You know what I mean? I in my opinion, for real heavy metal, right? Like, why is it so unpopular there?
I don't know. They got Oasis, haven't they?
Yeah,
I really think it's largely due to what people are fed. Like, I just don't think there's.
I mean, come on, people can think for themselves,
Sure, some people can.
But why is it bigger in America than there? Because America always had a hard. We were we were the land of trends here, you know. Everybody, mainstream dictated everything before the internet. The UK, at least, it always had its own nice ecosystem of balance, I think. You know what I mean? If you look at the charts even, you know, it always had a nice balance.
I haven't looked at the charts for a really long time.
No, I haven't either, but I'm saying then. You know?
It's, I mean, you know, old school heavy metal died the same time it did in the States with grunge. Like the grunge bands were popular in the UK, but also like the UK's always had its own kind of music ecosystem, bands that don't necessarily get big in the rest of the world. Like on the night of the Millennium, I saw the Manic Street Preachers play in a stadium to like 60,000 people.
I saw Eddie Money in California.
That's pretty rad. But where I'm going with that is like when the Manics come to California, they either like open for Suede or they play a club.
Right.
So, and there's still headlining festivals in the UK.
Right.
There's a whole like kind of mythology of British music that just doesn't leave those islands.
I mean, it's really interesting because, you know, we had the British invasion here, and that completely changed our culture. Completely. Like overnight, it was done. Everything changed. Like you talk about hair metal to grunge, it had nothing compared to American rock and roll into the British invasion.
Dude,
it wasn't even close.
I can't count how many interviews I've seen where it's like, well, I was watching the Ed Sullivan show, and you know, like, that's how like a whole generation of our favorite bands started.
I think more people remember that than they remember where they were when Kennedy was shot.
Probably,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, the thing is, I've always seen England specifically as like on par with America as far as like culturally, you know, tastemakers. And now there's this fascination in the UK with stuff that happened in America 25 years ago. Like nu metal and pop punk is like the biggest thing out there, you know, for rock. And it just blows my mind because it's like we're an ocean away, but I mean, it's not like you need to wait anymore to hear about what's going on in the world. You know what I mean?
No,
it doesn't need time to travel to you, you know?
Well, you know, I'm sure some people still spend their Saturday mornings digging through crates to find music, but most people don't. And, you know, I think that just the culture of music consumption has changed so much. Like, I think it's kind of like solidifying into this weird kind of centralized mass where it's just kind of like whatever the algorithm pumps out to people.
I agree. Look, I get it from a mainstream point of view. All I'm saying is, like, you being in the Bay Area now, there's a stronger metal scene in the Bay Area than there is in London.
Definitely when I left London 11 years ago, yeah.
Well, there is now, too, I'll tell you. I was just
really?
there. I mean, like, you know, I still go and play there a lot, so.
Yeah, I've had disappointing experiences with a lot of bands, like, playing in London. Like, although, honestly, the last few times I went, it wasn't too bad. Like, with Spirit Adrift, we went over there and we opened for Guar, and that was a full house.
Well, you opened for Guar.
Because we were opening for Guar.
Yeah.
If we'd gone there and tried to do our own show, we'd be looking at, like, like, I tried to get one of my bands a gig in London this year, which we weren't able to do in the end. We weren't able to sort out the travel. But we were going to ask for a free show at the Devonshire Arms in Camden because we figured that'd be the easiest way to make sure there was an audience.
And the Dev's great, and people love free shows at the Dev. You know?
So if we just booked a show on our own, no one would be there. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, it's tough. But I find that a lot with a lot of major cities. You go to Paris, you go to New York, you go to L.A., there's so many underplays. Like, it's like you see bigger bands in smaller and smaller clubs in major markets where there's the most amount of people. I mean, I don't know. Is it because people have options?
Could be.
You know? I mean, even like when we tour in Ireland, like Dublin will only do a couple hundred people. Like, it's the lowest turnout and it's the easiest place to get to. I mean, it's expensive, but I don't know. I just find that the secondary markets, people really appreciate it and they really support, you know, as far as...
The coolest shows I've done in Ireland were in like Cork and Limerick and Derry, I would say, probably.
Yeah, right?
And actually, I've had some good ones in Belfast too.
Yeah, Belfast is always good too, you know. Yeah. And nothing against Dublin. I mean, we have great shows there. But I've just noticed that, you know, the numbers are... But I find that, like, again, like... You see some of the bands that play in LA now, like at the Whiskey, and you're like, how? Like, why is there not, you know, they should be in a place 3-4 times that size because they would be in any other city. You know what I mean? New York, too. I mean, it's just, you end up, there's no shows in Manhattan. Now you're playing like in Brooklyn, which is great, but it's always a smaller thing than you would think. It's just, I don't know, it's a really strange thing to me because you think that if you're going to where everybody lives, right?
Maybe that's where the people will be at the shows too.
Yeah, maybe. Also, it's another thing that's not talked about though that I should mention is all the cities that I just mentioned are so expensive to live in now. I mean, I don't know how people do it, you know?
That's the thing, man. Cost of living everywhere is whack.
Or even proper, San Francisco proper, right? I mean, all the concerts used to be there. Now it's like you're going to Oakland, you know.
A lot of bands won't even come to the Bay. They'll play in like Sacramento.
Right.
A lot of bands are stopping in Sacramento instead of San Francisco or Oakland.
Why do you think that is?
I've spoken to some people who say it's like a safety issue because there's so many break-ins in San Francisco and Oakland. They don't necessarily want their shit getting all smashed up. I think that's a little hysterical, but I know enough people it's happened to also say, yeah, but you know.
Well, I mean, look at all
that kind of thing can happen anywhere.
Look at all the tourism we lost this year from the ICE stuff and you know the immigration stuff. I mean, you're talking like probably $1 billion or something, you know, that like we've lost from people. They just don't want to deal with it, you know.
Yeah, life's expensive, you know, and you know if you go to a show, like it costs so much. Like if you're drinking, just like have 3 or 4 beers at a show now, you're like quadrupling the price of your ticket. That was probably also already $50 when it was like 20 a few years ago.
Yeah, and then parking and all this stuff. I mean, I've hung out with you in the Bay quite a few times, but I mean, like, I love playing in Oakland. But man, it's fucking scary. Like it is. We went up and did a recording session for a week last year, and like, you know, the guy at the studio was showing us like surveillance footage of like a guy just on the street like unloading a machine gun.
Really?
You know? Yeah.
Wow.
And like,
That's
or,
fun.
you know. It's I don't know. I don't want to get into political issues.
No.
But
I mean, yeah, I'm not talking shit. I love living in the Bay Area, and I wish more bands would come through.
Right.
But you know, also like you know, it's like any major city. You just got to have your wits about you in some places, and they
You
don't
really
normally
do.
put the metal venues in the nicest parts of town.
No.
They don't want to see us.
No, they don't. They don't. We're still judged by a book by its cover. You know, right?
Yeah. The community finds the shows though, and you know, I'm pretty sure any metal bands who come through the Bay Area, as long as everyone knows they're coming, like they're going to have a good show.
I mean, I've been to like backyard shows in Oakland. You
Yeah.
know? It's the Wild West out there, man. I mean, it is. There are parts of Oakland that are just, it's complete anarchy, man.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's complete anarchy. You know,
Yeah.
it's really, it is really insane. You know, but I guess that you definitely feel alive when you're there, right?
Yeah, like you want to feel alive. Yeah, rock and roll's not supposed to be completely sanitized.
Well, that's it for this week. We have more of the Tom Draper interview coming up, more stories, more clips. We might take a short break from this interview next week for a special episode. You'll have to tune in and see what that's all about. Also, check out nightdemon.net for all things Night Demon. Until next week, this is Nesbitt signing off.
Thanks for listening to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. Head over to nightdemon.net, click on the subscriber tab, and sign up to access exclusive weekly bonus content. If you would like to donate to support the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast, you can do so through PayPal at paypal.me/nightdemonmetal. Additionally, if you have not already done so, please subscribe, like, rate, and review the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All hail, Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. This is Dusty Squires chiming in to tell you about my brand new signature sticks from the London Drumstick Company. I've dreamt of having my very own drumsticks ever since I was a wee lad, and LDC made that a possibility for me. Founded in 2016 in London, England, the birthplace of heavy metal, the London Drumstick Company has trailblazed a path through the music industry and taken the drummer world by storm. When I met them for the first time, they knew their product was going to withstand the beatings of a Night Demon show. They took the time to work with me on getting everything just right. The balance and weight of my sticks are the same no matter what, and the durability is bar none the best I've ever had. I know my sticks will last through the set night after night. I'm truly honored to work with a company that caters to their players the way LDC does. Their innovation and attention to detail is what separates them from the rest of the stick makers out there. Their custom stick sleeves are unbelievable and really make the entire presentation complete. Wait until you see the design they came up with for me. It blew my mind and was a surprise to say the least. They have all kinds of amazing swag, including hoodies, t-shirts, drummer shorts, drum keys, stick bags, towels, face masks, practice pads, and much, much more. Even if you're not a drummer, you can be a part of Demon history and order my brand new signature sticks direct from their website. How cool is that? And to top it off, the London Drumstick Company are giving an exclusive offer to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. Go to londondrumsticks.co.uk and receive a 15% store-wide discount using promo code DEMONSTICKS. All capital letters, no spaces, Demon Sticks. DEMONSTICKS. I can't thank everyone there enough for the opportunity to be a part of their family and for them trusting me with their amazing products. See you metal maniacs on the road very soon. And yes, the wood chips will be flying.
Greetings, boils and ghouls. This is your comrade, the Crypt Keeper here, reporting dead from the sanctuary of the strange. Tonight's macabre myth is a fright-filled feature, one overflowing with monsters, madness, and magic.
Visit our website at monstersmadnessandmagic.com to stay up to date on all the dark dealings within the sanctuary of the strange. Enjoy the show.
Hey Metalheads, I'm Mark and I host the Metal Forge. Let me tell you about the show. The Metal Forge features the best underground metal from all over the world. We spend every week with a different artist with interviews, in-depth conversations, and most of all, the music. We also feature audience interactivity where you can submit your questions to the upcoming guests. New episodes are out every Friday at noon Eastern Time at metalforgeradio.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking Podcast, a non-genre based, all-ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
Okay, metalheads, you've been complaining that there has not been a channel that plays all of the heavy metal videos from past, present, and future for years and years at this point. Well, that time is over. Heavy Metal Television is back. HeavyMetalTelevision.net is the website. Go there. You can see videos playing 24/7, 365, all the time. All the best from the old school, the new school, and everything in between. Check it out, HeavyMetalTelevision.net. It is where the metal is.